Now, there's been complaints in Brazil and abroad about the cost of attending a game simply is just too much, even for the most devout fans and those right across the Brazilian border. Now, Joel Richards is there, and he recently spent time with some of the fans next door in Uruguay. And Joel, this is a fascinating story because you need money to get there, obviously.
Absolutely, Phil. Well, good evening from the Fan Fest, and certainly if you take a look at the thousands of people who came here by the beach in Copacabana to watch this opening game, you'd see they're not too fearful of those prices that Paolo was mentioning for water and for beer. So still thousands of people coming here, but nonetheless, for many Latin Americans and many football fans around the world, it's a dream to come to a World Cup, and of course, especially in Brazil, home of football, if you like, the country with more World Cup titles than any others. And as you mentioned, we went to Uruguay, a neighbouring country to Brazil, so you would have thought that it's a short trip, but what we found there was people who've had to find creative ways to make it up to Brazil or not come at all.
The Centenario Stadium in Montevideo is a place of pilgrimage for Uruguayans and football supporters from around the globe. It's where the World Cup began. The first tournament was held here in 1930 and the home team won. Uruguay confirmed its status as one of football's first major powers, winning the World Cup again in 1950 in Brazil. Many here had hoped to travel to this year's World Cup, but with prices so high, they've had to improvise. This group of friends in their 20s have found a way to spread the cost. They'll be renting a motorhome and driving across Brazil to see Uruguay play.
We have the travel and the hotels for all together in the motorhome, and we are 12, so the costs are all divided between the 12 friends that we are.
With a squad of star players on its roster, Uruguay reached the semi-finals in 2010. Uruguay's history in the tournament is a point of national pride.
Well, despite Uruguay's pedigree in the World Cup and the proximity to Brazil, the cost of travel means that for many, it's simply out of the question to go to the tournament and see their team in action.
Right now, local tour operators say a trip to neighbouring Brazil is more expensive than crossing the Atlantic to South Africa. The average cost for a family to see Uruguay's 3 group games is around $20,000 for 14 days.
Uruguayans want to go. Uruguayans love their football, and they'll spend money on football too. Maybe more than they can afford, but there is a limit.
Those who have found a way to make it to Brazil are confident about their team's chances.
All the World Cups that were played in Brazil were won by Uruguay.
But the costs have lowered demand for tours to Brazil. Like 4 years ago, many will settle for watching the tournament on TV rather than enjoy the party in person.